I awaken to the droning hum of the manufacturum's morning klaxon. Another day in Hive Cinerus, another shift amid the grinding of machines and the suffocating haze of promethium fumes. My small hab unit is barely larger than a closet, lit by a flickering lumen strip overhead. The air recycler rattles in the corner, struggling against the perpetual smog that seeps in from the megastructure beyond. Emperor, grant me strength, I mutter as I swing my legs off the cot. It's a ritual benediction every soul in the Imperium knows by heart, though in my case it's said with more habit than conviction. On cue, the Vox speakers crackle in the corridor outside, blaring the Hive's daily wake-up litany. A tinny voice recites, "To serve is to live. To obey is to serve. Glory to the Emperor." The same words every morning. I roll my eyes at the empty hall after the announcement ends. "Glory to the Emperor," I mumble, half sincere and half sarcastic, and start pulling on my work gear. Stained coveralls, heavy boots, a frayed flak vest scrounged from PDF surplus. It pays to have a little armour in these parts of the mid-hive. A sharp rap lands on my hab door. Only one person knocks like she's trying to punch through the plasteel. I hit the release and it slides open with a groan. Kara stands there, hands on her hips, auburn hair tucked under a dirty cap. She's already in her baggy work coveralls, sleeves rolled up to her elbows. There's a familiar smirk on her face. "You planning to sleep through the shift, or do I have to drag you out by your ears again?" Kara quips. Her tone is playful, but her eyes glint with the usual mischief that starts our mornings. I chuckle and grab my toolkit. "As if you could, short stack." I give her a light nudge as I step out and lock the hab door behind me. She wrinkles her nose at the old nickname. "Keep calling me that, and I'll weld your locker shut at the shop, Jonas." Kara falls in beside me as we join the stream of workers trudging along the narrow corridor. The walls sweat with condensation, and the air tastes of machine oil. Other labourers shuffle around us, hollow-eyed and silent, some flanked by blank-faced servitors carrying equipment. The distant thud of heavy machinery provides a steady, dismal rhythm. Kara bumps my shoulder. "So, bets on how many conveyor jams we clear today?" she asks. I shrug. "Hopefully fewer than yesterday. My back's still sore from prying that gear housing open." She snorts. "You're just getting old." "I'm 28. Thanks. Ancient, I know." I shoot her a sidelong glance. "Besides, you're what, 25? Practically a grandma." Kara laughs under her breath, a brief, bright sound in the gloom. A few nearby workers glance at us, either envious or annoyed at our levity. In the Imperium, a sense of humour is a rare luxury, maybe even a minor act of rebellion against the drudgery. We squeeze into a massive elevator cage with the crowd. The platform shudders as it descends toward the lower manufacturum levels. Overhead, faint lights of the distant upper spire shimmer like unreachable stars. I've never seen the sky. None of us mid-hivers have. Only the nobles in the spire ever glimpse the sun through the toxic clouds. The lift grinds to a halt at Factorum, level 39. This is our stop. We spill out into an expansive hall of clanging machinery and assembly lines. The noise hits at once, the clashing of metal, hiss of steam, roaring furnaces, a relentless cacophony that forms the backdrop of our lives. Overhead, lumen globes cast dirty yellow light onto scuffed rockcrete floors. Hundreds of workers already bustle at their stations, overseers stalking on raised platforms and barking orders. Kara and I head to our assigned post, Conveyor Line 17B. We maintain the conveyor's autoloaders, keeping munitions shipments moving. It's demanding work, but better than latrine duty or sump pipe clearing. As we approach, our foreman Brannick is already glowering with his one good eye. The other is an augmetic lens glowing red. It always makes him look half servitor. "You're late," Brannick snaps, though by my chrono, we're right on time. Kara gives a mock salute. Apologies, sir. The elevator was slower than the Emperor's mercy today. Brannick's augmetic eye whirs as he focuses on her. He doesn't appreciate her jibes. Just get to work. He spits, scarred jowls quivering. Conveyors jam near the loading bay again. Clear it, and no chatter. We scurry off before he docks our rations. Out of earshot, Kara rolls her eyes. No chatter, he says. Maybe if he replaced that antique cogitator he calls a brain, the line wouldn't jam so often. I bite back a laugh as we climb onto the steel gantry along conveyor 17B. Below, shells and weapon parts rattle past in an endless procession. Careful, I murmur, levering open a maintenance panel. One of these days he'll report you for tech heresy. Oh please, questioning Brannick's competence isn't heresy, it's common sense, she retorts, handing me a rusted crowbar to pry the jam loose. We've done this 100 times. As I strain against the stuck mechanism, sweat dripping down my brow, I'm grateful for Kara's presence. Her banter keeps me sane in this dreary place. Many here barely speak unless required. Fear and fatigue have stamped out any joy, but with Kara, even in whispers over screeching machines, I find reasons to smile. Together we dislodge a twisted hunk of scrap metal, jamming the rollers. The conveyor shudders back to life, lurching into motion. Kara wipes grease from her cheek with a rag and grins at me triumphantly. See? Who needs a Mechanicus tech priest when you have us? She says. I return the grin. We should petition for a raise. Emperor knows we do more than the cogboys bother to down here. She laughs, and the sound is like a tiny beacon of light in the gloom. For a moment it feels like just another ordinary day in the hive. Tough, tedious, but bearable, with a friend by your side. If only it had stayed that way. We push through the morning routine, the clatter of assembly lines drowning out any other sound, until a shrill scream pierces the din. I freeze, unsure I heard right. Then another scream, followed by a panicked shout. Get him off me, he's biting me. Kara and I whip our heads toward the commotion on the neighbouring conveyor line. Workers there are stumbling back in panic. My stomach knots, biting. Brannick's roar rises above the clamour. What in the hell is going on over there? He abandons the crate he was inspecting and stalks toward the disturbance. Dread gnaws at me, but we follow a few steps behind on the gantry for a better view. Below, near conveyor 18, a knot of figures struggles. One of the pipe fitters, Harvin, is on top of a co-worker, face buried in the man's neck. Blood sprays as he tears out a chunk of flesh with his teeth. The victim's screams falter into a wet gurgle. Throne, I choke out, heart hammering. Harvin isn't in a brawl. He's eating that man alive. Two workers grab Harvin, but he flings them aside with unnatural strength. Rising from his twitching victim, he snarls, lips dripping red. His eyes are milky and unfocused, barely human. Foam and gore streak his chin. Kara grips my arm. Emperor, preserve us, she whispers. People don't just turn cannibal like this, not unless they've gone truly mad. Brannick reaches the scene, pale-faced despite his anger. Harvin, stand down, he barks, as if sheer authority can snap the man out of it. Harvin doesn't even acknowledge him. Most nearby workers are frozen or scrambling away in terror. Snarling, Harvin steps toward Brannick. The foreman grabs a heavy spanner from a toolbox and brandishes it. He swings it down with a meaty thump, striking Harvin's shoulder. Harvin staggers a half step, then turns toward Brannick unfazed. Security, over here. Brannick hollers, stumbling back. As if on cue, a gunshot cracks the air. An enforcer guard in black flak armor pushes through the crowd, revolver raised. Back away, he shouts. His partner follows, armed with a crackling shock baton. The crowd parts, revealing Harvin, crouched amid two blood-soaked bodies. Harvin tilts his head at them, unperturbed by the gunfire. With a guttural hiss, he lunges. The first guard fires, hits Harvin in the shoulder, but Harvin slams into him like a bull. They crash to the ground. I catch a glimpse of the Enforcer's face contorted in pain as Harvin's jaws clamp onto his neck. A strangled scream, then blood pools beneath them. Emperor's mercy, I gasp. I should run, but my legs are led as I watch the Enforcer spasm and fall limp. The second guard darts in, smashing the baton across Harvin's back with a crackle of electricity. Harvin finally recoils, snarling and singed, but the first Enforcer is clearly dead. Brannick has seen enough. He turns and flees into the panicked crowd. All around, the factory descends into chaos. More people are turning on each other in frenzied attacks. Terror grips my chest. Kara, we need to go. I shout, breaking from my stupor. She snaps out of hers too. We spin and sprint toward our conveyor station to grab our gear. My tool belt, her rucksack, anything useful. My heart thunders in my ears. We scramble down the gantry ladder to the floor. I seize Kara's hand, not daring to lose her in the stampede. She squeezes back, staying with me. At our station, I snatch up my toolkit and sling it over my shoulder. Kara grabs a sturdy iron rod we'd propped against the wall as a pry bar. A raw howl rises behind us. I glance back. Brannick is on his knees now, and Harvin is atop him, teeth buried in the foreman's neck. Brannick's scream curdles to a gurgle as blood pours down his chest. His augmetic eye flickers and goes dark. Harvin keeps tearing at him, undeterred. There's nothing we can do. I grip my teeth, fighting the urge to vomit. An alarm klaxon begins wailing, red lights strobing overhead. They're sealing the level. If we don't get out now, we'll be trapped. Run, I shout. We bolt toward the main exit passage, along with a handful of other terrified workers. A blood-splattered woman staggers into our path, teeth bared. She lunges. Kara swings the iron rod with a sickening crack, smashing the side of the woman's skull. The attacker drops instantly, clearing our path. The transit hall door is just ahead, already descending. The heavy blast door is nearly shut, closing off our escape. A few people slip under the narrowing gap. We push ourselves harder. Go, go, I urge, practically hauling Kara by our interlocked hands. The opening shrinks by the second. When we reach the door, the gap is little more than a few feet high. I don't hesitate. I dive face first and slide on my belly under the closing door, feeling it graze my back. I'm through. Kara drops and rolls, sliding after me. The gap is only inches tall now. I grab her under the arms and yank with all my strength. She yelps as I drag her clear, and a heartbeat later, the blast door slams shut behind her boots. We collapse on the floor of the transit corridor, gasping. We made it out. Around us, dozens of breathless survivors huddle in the flickering light. Some moan in pain. All are terrified. I realize I'm still clutching Kara. I gently help her sit up. My hands are smeared with blood. Mine or someone else's, I can't tell. She meets my gaze, face ashen. Jonas, what just happened? What's happening to everyone? She whispers, voice trembling. I don't know. I answer softly, pulling her into a quick, fierce embrace. Over the distant wail of alarms, I hear sobbing and whispered prayers from the others. Our ordinary workday has become a nightmare, and I fear it's only the beginning. The transit hall erupts into argument and sobs. A dozen survivors cluster in small groups, voices overlapping in panic. Some insist we wait here for help. Others sob that we're all going to die. The red emergency lighting paints everything in a bloody glow. My heart is still racing, but I know staying put is a death trap. If those things break through, or if the authorities decide to purge this area, the enforcer who escaped with us takes charge. He's a stocky man with a gash across his forehead and a shaky grip on his revolver. Listen up, he barks, trying to sound authoritative, despite the quaver in his voice. We can't stay here. We need to move to a safer zone. The Enforcer Precinct Fortress is 2 sectors away. If we get there, we'll be protected. A few people nod at his words, latching onto any hope of safety. I spot Kara at my side, pale but composed, her iron rod still in hand. I gently squeeze her shoulder to reassure her, and myself. You expect us to run out there? We should stay until help comes. Anton protests, voice shaking. The enforcer rounds on him. Sitting here waiting will get us killed. Emergency responders are overstretched or dead. Best chance is to reach the precinct where more enforcers and PDF might be holding out. I swallow hard. If we stay, we're sitting ducks. Those doors won't open anytime soon, if ever. Adela, a Medici assistant, nods. I saw more of those things in the corridors. Hiding here won't save us. Anton glances at the blood-smeared door behind us and shudders. All right, better than waiting to be butchered. Without further ceremony, we set off down the main corridor. The enforcer leads, pistol in one hand and shock baton in the other. I walk near him, holding a wrench from my toolkit in one hand and keeping Kara close on my other side. The others huddle just behind. We move down a long corridor, lit by only a few flickering lumen strips. In the gloom, we step over scattered bodies and debris. By order of the governor, martial law is in effect. Citizens must remain in their habs. The Emperor protects. A crackling announcer voice declares over the speakers. Kara grips her rod tighter. Little late for that, she mutters, glancing at me. At least she's still got some fight. Rounding a corner, we find a wider hall, lined with storage bays. Several corpses lie sprawled across the deck plating. Adela muffles a gasp at the sight. One body isn't torn apart like the ones in the factorum. It looks trampled, as if a stampede ran it down. Among them is a fallen servitor, its cybernetic limbs twitching in a pool of oil and blood. Bren, the young lad, suddenly breaks formation, rushing to one of the bodies. Father, he chokes out, recognizing the corpse of a balding man in a tech's jumpsuit. Before we can pull him back, the infected tech priest and woman behind the lifter shriek and charge. The tech priest falls upon Bren with terrifying speed. Bren shrieks as metal teeth tear out his throat in a spray of blood. I roar and swing my wrench at the tech priest's head. It connects with a harsh clang, denting metal, but not stopping him. The monster rounds on me, gore-dripping jaws snapping inches from my face. Kara appears with a ferocious cry, bringing her iron rod down on the tech priest's back. Something cracks, and it collapses to its knees. A boom echoes, the enforcer's shotgun. The shot blows out half the tech priest's skull in a burst of sparks and bone. It finally drops, twitching. The other infected woman is on Anton, snarling as he struggles to hold her off. Adela beats at her with a wrench to little effect. 2 more shotgun blasts ring out, and the woman's head bursts in a cloud of blood. She slumps, dead. The echoes fade. In the sudden silence, we all stand shaking, splattered with blood. The enforcer scans for more targets, then lowers his smoking shotgun. Bren lies dead in a widening pool of his own blood. Adela presses a hand to her mouth, stifling a sob at the sight of the boy's lifeless eyes. Anton wipes blood from his face. Thrown. Even the Mechanicus, he mutters, voice quivering at the blasphemy of it. It's like a plague, Kara whispers, horrified. Adela nods, dazed. Some kind of infection to turn people so rabid. We have to keep moving, the enforcer says firmly, snapping open his shotgun to reload fresh shells. Distant wails already echo from the dark, drawn by the gunfire. No one protests. With nothing to be done for Bren, we leave his body and push on, hearts heavy. My hands are sticky with blood, his or someone else's. We hurry down a side stairwell to a maintenance level, avoiding the main thoroughfares. The metal steps creak as we descend into thicker darkness. In the near dark, Kara finds my hand and squeezes. I squeeze back gently. We're both terrified, but at least we're together in this. At the bottom, a heavy bulkhead door marked with hazard stripes stands ajar. Beyond it lies a narrow service tunnel stretching into blackness. The Enforcer shines his light inside. Single file. Watch for an ambush. None of us likes it, but we have no choice. The howls behind us are growing. We steel ourselves. The Enforcer takes point, Anton the rear, and the rest of us in between. One by one, we slip into the tunnel's throat of darkness. My pulse pounds in my ears. For a moment in the black, I feel Kara's fingers brush mine again. I cling to that touch as we advance, step by cautious step, praying to the Emperor we'll see light on the other side. Our world narrows to the cone of light, cast by the Enforcer's wrist-mounted lumen as we creep through the maintenance tunnel. The walls sweat with moisture, pipes rattle overhead, periodically belching gouts of steam. Every drip of water or scuff of our boots on the metal grate floor sounds perilously loud. We move in silence, barely daring to breathe. I lead just behind the Enforcer, Kara close behind me, with Adela next, and Anton taking up the rear. The air tastes of rust and old sewage. Somewhere in the darkness, I hear the skittering of vermin fleeing our light. The tunnel seems endless, curving and branching through the bowels of the hive. My mind wanders as we walk, grasping at any distraction from the claustrophobia and fear. I recall one night after shift, sitting with Kara on a scaffold high above the factorum, joking about sneaking up to the upper hive to see the real stars. Now I wonder if we'll ever see any sky again. Kara's hand briefly brushes my back, as if sensing my anxiety. Even here, one touch from her steadies me. Suddenly, a faint clang echoes from somewhere behind us. We all freeze. The Enforcer kills the lumen, and we're plunged into pitch black. For a moment, the only sound is my own heartbeat thundering in my ears. Anton, was that you? Adela whispers. No, comes Anton's low reply from the rear, alarm in his voice. The Enforcer curses under his breath. Something's following us. Keep moving now, he hisses. He reactivates the dim lumen, and we pick up pace, half jogging down the tunnel. My palms are slick around the grip of my wrench. Kara's breaths come fast but controlled beside me. A scrape of metal on metal echoes again, closer this time. Anton glances over his shoulder, raising his crowbar. It's right on us. A shape bursts from a side conduit with a feral shriek. It crashes into Anton at the back of our column, knocking him against the tunnel wall. In the jittering lumen light, I see it's another hive worker, or what's left of one. Its half-decayed face peeled in a snarl, eyes feral and clouded. Anton grapples with the thing, holding its snapping teeth away from his throat with the shaft of his crowbar. Get it off me, he roars, voice edged with panic. The Enforcer tries to turn to get a shot, but in the tight space he can't fire without risking hitting us. Instead, he lunges back and drives his shoulder into the creature, smashing it against the wall. It hisses and swipes a clawed hand, catching the Enforcer across the cheek and drawing blood. Kara pushes past me in the narrow tunnel. Without hesitation, she thrusts her iron rod forward, like a spear, impaling the creature through the side. It screeches, blackish blood gurgling from its mouth. We all shove at it, Anton, the Enforcer, Kara and I together, pinning it to the wall. With a final spasm, the thing shudders and falls limp, sliding off Kara's rod. Panting, I stomp its skull, ensuring it stays down. Anton, you okay? I ask, turning to our rear guard. He slumps against the wall, clutching his left shoulder. In the dim light, I see dark blood seeping between his fingers. Our brief fight lasted mere seconds, but the creature got him. A ragged bite mark gapes where his shoulder meets his neck. Adela edges around to examine the wound. Her face crumples. We all know what that injury means. Anton knows too. Emperor, damn it. He groans, slumping down. His eyes flicker with despair, then steely resolve. I'm done for. You all keep going. No. Adela protests, already tearing a strip from her sleeve to press on the wound. I can slow the bleeding. Girl, we both know infection is likely. Anton says hoarsely. He manages a grim smile. Ain't got a medical miracle in that bag of yours, do you? Adela's silence is answer enough. Tears shine in her eyes. Kara grips my arm tightly. I grip my teeth, stomach twisting, losing another companion, Emperor. It's so senseless. But this entire nightmare is senseless. The Enforcer steps forward, jaw clenched. Anton, I can give you the Emperor's peace. He offers quietly, drawing his revolver. It's an unspoken mercy, a swift death before the curse overtakes him. For a moment, the tunnel is silent. Anton closes his eyes, a tear carving through the grime on his cheek. All right, he whispers. Just make it quick, friend. We turn our gazes away as a single gunshot cracks in the darkness. Kara flinches, burying her face against my shoulder. I squeeze my eyes shut, mouth moving in a silent prayer for Anton's soul. The gunshot's echo fades, and with it, another piece of our dwindling hope. The Enforcer whispers a shaky benediction and reloads his revolver. Throne, forgive me, he mutters. I take Kara's hand, gently guiding her onward. We have to keep moving, I say, voice hollow. Behind us, Adela quietly sobs for a moment, then falls into step. We press on, through the black labyrinth, leaving Anton's still form in the darkness behind. After what feels like an eternity, the tunnel slopes upward, and the air grows slightly fresher. At the end of a corridor, we come upon a ladder, rising to a hatch sealed with a wheel lock. Faded letters stenciled on the metal read, Enforcer Precinct 47, Access 12B. The precinct, the Enforcer says, hope lighting his bruised face. He scrambles up the ladder and tries the hatch. At first it refuses to budge. Together, Kara and I ascend to help, adding our muscle. The rusted wheel squeals in protest, then finally gives with a loud crack. The hatch lifts. A flood of flickering light blinds me as we clamber out. We emerge into a wide plaza at the base of the Enforcer Precinct fortress. The sight before us stops me cold. Ahead of us, makeshift barricades manned by a handful of enforcers and PDF troopers are under siege by a horde of shrieking infected. Muzzle flashes and gouts of promethium flame strobe through the darkness, illuminating a scene of utter carnage. For a moment, none of the defenders notice our small group emerging from the maintenance hatch at their rear. We're outside the barricades, a dozen meters behind the firing line. My mind reels that we made it here alive, only to find ourselves in another battle. The Enforcer waves an arm desperately and calls out, "Friendlies, behind you." A few PDF troopers whirl around, laser guns trained on us. I lift my hands reflexively. Kara stays half behind me, her rod lowered but ready. "Thank the God Emperor survivors," a voice shouts from the line. A man in a singed PDF uniform jogs toward us. He has a sergeant's stripes and a patch over one eye. Up close, his face is streaked with soot and exhaustion. "Get over the barricade, quick now." We don't need to be told twice. The sergeant and the Enforcer help Adela over the sandbags. I boost Kara up and scramble after her. Immediately, another Enforcer thrusts a last pistol into my hands. "Can you shoot, citizen?" he barks. I nod, swallowing. "Point and pull the trigger, I reckon." "Then get to it," he says, before turning back to rake a burst of autogun fire at the oncoming attackers. I steel myself and join the line. Sighting down the last pistol, I fire into the onrushing mass. The weapon's crack is lost amid the thunder of dozens of guns. The wave of cannibals falters under the withering fire. Limbs are blown off. Bodies explode into bloody ruin under shotgun blasts and las bolts. Still, a few reach the barricade. To my left, a screaming infected woman vaults over, tackling an Enforcer in a flurry of teeth and nails. Two PDF troopers grab and pull her off, only for one of them to be bitten in the scuffle. "Burn them," someone yells. A robed Adeptus Ministorum priest I hadn't noticed before raises a gilded flamethrower and bathes the barricade's front in liquid fire. The air fills with a horrid chorus of agonized screeches as the infected caught in the flames writhe and blacken. The trooper who was bitten shrieks too, his uniform igniting. Mercifully, another enforcer drags him back and smothers the flames. Within moments the assault recedes. The surviving cannibals break and scatter back into the night beyond the plaza, leaving piles of their dead and dying behind. A brief, eerie silence falls, broken only by the crackle of burning bodies and the sobbing of the wounded trooper. My hands tremble as I lower the spent las pistol, bile burning in my throat. Kara touches my shoulder. "Jonas, you're bleeding," she says urgently. Only now do I feel the hot slash of pain across my forearm. At some point in the melee, a stray fragment or round must have clipped me, leaving a gouge oozing blood. Adrenaline kept me from noticing until now. I'm alright, I manage, though a wave of dizziness suggests otherwise. The sergeant barks orders to his men, repositioning a heavy stubber and getting a casualty cart for the injured trooper. In the flurry of post-battle activity, the enforcer who came with us clasps my arm. He looks both relieved and grim. "You fought well," he says. "Rest a minute. We'll likely be hit again before long. They come in waves." Kara tears a strip from the hem of her tunic and starts wrapping it around my bleeding arm. Her fingers tremble. She hasn't said a word about the battle, but her face is drawn, eyes shining with tears she refuses to let fall. I cover her hands with mine to still them. "We're alive," I whisper. "We made it to the precinct." "For what it's worth," she whispers back, casting a glance at the shattered plaza. Before I can answer, a harsh new sound splits the air. A siren wail unlike the usual alarms. It rises and falls in a deliberate pattern that sends a chill down my spine. The defenders all pause, faces turning upward toward the fortress behind us. From loudhailers mounted on the precinct walls, an amplified voice booms. "This is Inquisitor Hallex of the Ordo Hereticus. All forces disengage and withdraw behind the secondary perimeter. Purification protocols will commence in 2 minutes." An older enforcer curses. "They're pulling back." The sergeant snarls. "You heard them. Fall back to the inner yard. Now, move." Around us, enforcers and soldiers begin hastily abandoning the outer barricades, dragging equipment and wounded toward the heavy gates of the precinct fortress that are now grinding open to receive them. I exchange a bewildered look with Kara. Purification protocols. That can only mean one thing. "Fire," the enforcer beside me says grimly. "They're going to burn the whole plaza, maybe the whole district." Adela, hovering behind Kara, gasps. "But there are still survivors out there, people hiding in their homes." Her protest is cut short as the sergeant shouts to us. "Inside, now, that's an order." He doesn't have to yell twice. Together we join the scramble, slipping past the towering plasteel gates as troops pour through. The moment we're inside the fortress yard, the gates thunder shut behind us with finality. I stumble to a halt, panting and cradling my bandaged arm. We stand within the precinct's walls now, a vast courtyard where Arbite's vehicles and supply crates are strewn about. Scores of haggard defenders catch their breath or tend wounds. Inquisitor Hallex. The Inquisition is here, and they've just ordered a purge. My mouth is dry as ash as the weight of it settles. Everyone beyond these walls, infected or not, is about to be cleansed with holy fire. Emperor have mercy. Kara slips her hand into mine. We made it inside, but at what cost? In the distance beyond the walls, I hear a deep whoomp as gouts of flaming promethium turn night into day. The purge has begun, Inside the precinct walls, we finally taste a moment of respite. Under harsh floodlights, dozens of weary enforcers and soldiers slump against barricades or tend to wounds. The massive gate remains sealed, muffling the horrors outside to a dull roar. Smoke hangs in the air, and each of us wears the 1,000-yard stare of the newly traumatized. I sit on a crate by a stack of ammo boxes, while Adela wraps a clean bandage around the gash on my forearm. The adrenaline of the battle is faded, leaving throbbing pain and bone-deep exhaustion in its wake. Kara hovers beside me, one hand gently resting on my knee. She's reluctant to let go, as if to reassure herself I'm still here. "That should stop the bleeding," Adela says softly. Her face is smeared with soot and fatigue, but her hands are steady. "You were lucky. Another inch, and it might have severed an artery." I flex my fingers and manage a weak smile. "Thank you, Adela. Emperor knows we owe you." She shakes her head. "Just doing my duty, whatever that means now." Her eyes drift across the courtyard to the huddled knot of other survivors and off-duty defenders. The reality is setting in for all of us. Though we're alive, this nightmare is far from over. Nearby, our enforcer companion, the one who led us here, stands talking in low tones with a fellow officer. I catch snippets of conversation, reports of other hive sectors falling, casualty estimates, talk of some ultimate sanction if things get worse. The enforcer's cheek sports a fresh bandage where the tunnel creature scratched him. Despite his stoic posture, I notice him sway on his feet and brace against a wall. "How's your arm?" Kara asks me in a low voice. "Sore, but I'll live," I reply. "The cut stings, but compared to what we've been through, it seems trivial." Kara nods, then glances around at the busy courtyard. Medics rush to and fro. A cluster of priests leads quiet prayers over a row of corpses shrouded in tarps. Miraculously, some of the defenders actually survived that onslaught. She leans in closer and speaks barely above a whisper. "Jonas, we're safe now, right? At least for the moment." I cover her hand on my knee with my own. "For the moment," I echo. We both know better than to assume more. The Inquisition doesn't deploy lightly, and an Inquisitor is here personally. A bad omen. Kara's eyes search mine. The flickering light reflects off unshed tears clinging to her lashes. Back in the tunnel, I really thought. "We weren't going to make it," she admits shakily. I squeeze her hand. "Me too." My voice catches, throat tight. In that lightless tunnel and then at the barricade, I was sure I'd lose her, or myself. The fact we're both still breathing seems unreal. Her lip trembles and she lets out a nervous half chuckle. "Remember when we used to complain that nothing exciting ever happened in Cinerus? Throne, I'd give anything for one of those boring days now." I huff a faint laugh. "No kidding. Give me a jammed conveyor and Brannick's yelling over all this." We lapse into silence. The precinct yard is an island of order amid the surrounding chaos. Adela finishes packing up her medikit and gently touches my shoulder. "Jonas, Kara, you too should get some rest. I don't know when we'll get another chance." Rest. The concept seems alien, but my body craves it. "Where?" I ask. She points toward an admin building on the courtyard's edge that's been converted into an impromptu field barracks. They've cleared a space inside for non-combatants. It's not luxurious, but it's safer than out here in the open. Kara helps me up. My legs protest, stiff and leaden. We thank Adela and make our way toward the building. As we pass the enforcer, he offers me a tired nod. "Get some sleep. I'll come find you if there are updates," he says. His face is pallid under the lights, beads of sweat on his brow despite the chill. "You okay, officer?" Kara asks gently. He waves her off. "Fine. Just a scratch and a long day," he replies, though his voice is strained. "Go on. You've earned a rest." Inside the admin hall, dozens of cots and bedrolls cover the floor. A few civilians, likely others who escaped from different parts of the hive, lie in fitful sleep or sit, wrapped in blankets, staring at nothing. The air smells of antiseptic and fear. We find an unoccupied cot in a corner. The moment we sink down onto it, an immense fatigue hits me. My body feels made of lead. Cora sits beside me, close enough that our shoulders touch. In the dimmer light here, removed from immediate danger, I truly see her for the first time today. Dried blood spattering her cheek, grime and sweat matting her auburn hair, eyes rimmed with red. I reach up and gently wipe a smudge of soot from her cheek, marveling that in all this, she's here with me, alive. We're alive, I murmur, as if saying it will make me believe it. Cora turns to me and, in a trembling rush, wraps her arms around my neck. Throne, Jonas. I was so scared, she whispers into my shoulder. Her whole body shakes. I hold her against me, feeling the warmth of her through the cold, dirty fabric of our clothes. I know, me too, I whisper back. My own tears finally well up and spill down my grime-caked cheeks, carving clean tracks through the dirt. We sit like that for a long moment, clinging to each other as the hubbub of the barracks carries on quietly around us. In that embrace, the terror and grief of the day begin to seep out. Losses weigh heavy on my chest. Bren, Anton, so many others. Cora sniffles against my collar, and I know she's thinking of them too. After a while, her shaking subsides. She pulls back just enough to look at me. Jonas, earlier, in the Hab block. There's something I need to tell you. Her voice is unsteady but earnest. My heart skips. In the dim glow of a nearby lamp, her eyes meet mine. Vulnerable, hopeful, afraid, all at once. What is it? I ask gently, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. She swallows. When I thought we were done for, all I could think about was that I never got to... Her words catch, and she bites her lip. I never got to tell you how much you mean to me. You have for a long time. Her cheeks flush beneath the grime, but she presses on. Jonas, I care about you, as more than just my friend. A teary smile finds its way to my lips. In all this darkness, her confession is like a spark of light. I'm an idiot, I whisper. I should have said it first. Cora, I care about you too. I have for ages. I just never had the guts. A faint smile curves her lips. The first I've seen since this morning. Took the end of the world for us to spit it out, huh? Better late than never, I murmur. Her hand comes up to cut my cheek, and I lean into her palm. We're both filthy and exhausted, but in this moment none of that matters. Slowly, I bend my head toward hers. She meets me halfway. Our lips touch, a gentle, tentative kiss that lasts only a second, but sends a warmth coursing through me that no amount of cold or fear can extinguish. When we part, she rests her forehead against mine. If we ever get out of this, Kara whispers, I'm taking you to see the stars, even if I have to drag you up the spire myself. My throat tightens. It's a date, I manage, voice thick. For a short while, we allow ourselves that small hope, a future beyond this hell, where we might keep that promise. It's a fantasy perhaps, but right now it's what we need to stay sane. A sudden commotion near the entrance jolts us from our bubble. Raised voices, angry, urgent. We break apart and see two Inquisition adepts in long coats stride into the hall, flanking a tall, severe-looking man in a charcoal grey stormcoat. He carries himself with the authority of a commander, used to being obeyed. Even without the prominent equals rosette at his collar, I'd know who he is. Inquisitor Hallex. All conversations in the barracks die as the Inquisitor's icy gaze sweeps the room. Behind him, those adepts carry data slates and strange sensor devices that click and whir. Hallex addresses us in a clipped, resonant voice. All civilians and off-duty personnel attend. This sector remains under strict quarantine by order of the Ordo Hereticus. You will each be subject to examination for signs of infection or corruption. I feel Kara grip my hand tightly. Adela, who had been resting on a cot nearby, stands at attention, jaw set with nervous fear. The Inquisitor continues, "My adepts will scan you now. Cooperate and this will be quick. Emperor willing, you are clean and will be permitted to remain here under guard until the situation is contained." His tone makes it clear, if we're not clean, our fate will be far worse. The adepts begin their work, moving person to person with Auspex-like devices. One approaches us. I can't help tensing as a cold blue scanning beam sweeps over my face and body, then Kara's. The device emits a dull chime and the adept nods curtly. We apparently passed. Across the room, I hear a harsh buzz from another scanner. A trembling voice protests, "Please, I'm fine. It's just a scratch. It's our enforcer friend." He's seated on a cot, sweat drenching his brow, as an adept's instrument gives an ominous drone. Kara and I exchange a worried glance. Adela steps forward. "Sir, that man fought with us. He was injured, yes, but..." Inquisitor Hallex silences her with a raised hand. "Injured how?" The enforcer holds his bandaged cheek. "One of those things got a swipe at me, but I feel..." He breaks off, swaying. Adela moves as if to support him, but an Inquisition trooper appears, seemingly from nowhere, and grabs her arm, keeping her back. The adept with the scanner looks to Hallex and shakes his head. Signs of bloodstream pathogen. Early stage. My stomach drops. The enforcer's scratch. The plague must spread that way too. The man's eyes widen in terror. No, I'm fine," he pleads, stumbling to his feet. Hallex's expression hardens. "Throne, spare your soul." He nods to the guards. 2 Inquisition stormtroopers step forward. The enforcer barely has time to gasp before a silenced pop sounds. A smoking hole appears in the back of his skull and he slumps forward, dead before he hits the ground. A collective gasp and murmur of horror ripples through the civilians. Adela actually cries out, wrenching against the trooper restraining her. "Monsters, he could have been saved," she sobs. The Inquisitor regards her coldly. "The only saving is sparing him the corruption's agony, girl. Perhaps you'd rather he turn on us in an hour. Would you volunteer to be his first meal?" Adela chokes on a reply, tears spilling down her cheeks. The trooper holding her forces her back into the line. My heart hammers. They killed him without hesitation. I tighten my arm around Kara as if to shield her from what just happened. Kara's face is pale, eyes shiny with fresh tears. She refuses to blink free. Hallex raises his voice to address us all. "Let the fate of that man be a lesson. This plague spares no one once it takes hold. Pity has no place here. Only purity. Only the Emperor's mercy, delivered by my hand." It's silent but for Adela's muffled weeping. I feel numb. We may have escaped the cannibals, but now we're at the mercy of something, someone, nearly as terrifying. The Inquisitor speaks quietly to one of his adepts, who nods and begins tapping at a Vox terminal. Hallex then announces, "You will remain under guard. No one leaves this building without authorization. We continue purification of the Hive at dawn. The Emperor protects." With that perfunctory benediction, he turns on his heel and strides out, coat flaring behind him, leaving us shaken in his wake. A pair of armed Arbites take up watch at the doors as the adepts follow the Inquisitor out. Slowly, low chatter resumes among the survivors, fearful, angry, whispering about the summary execution we just witnessed. Adela sinks down onto her cot, face in her hands. I gently lay a hand on her shoulder. She looks up, eyes hollow. "I tried to help him," she whispers. "I should have seen the signs earlier, done something." "There was nothing you could have done," Kara says softly. kneeling next to her. This disease, once it's in you. She doesn't finish the thought. Adela nods miserably and wipes her face. I know, it's just, Emperor, this is so wrong, all of it. I glance around at the scared faces, the guards at the door. We're ostensibly safe, but in truth, we're prisoners. The Inquisition will purify the Hive come dawn, whatever that entails, and we'll still be here, locked in this building, completely expendable, quietly. So only Kara and Adela here. I murmur. I don't think they intend for any of us to leave alive. Neither responds, but their silence is telling. We all feel the same dread. This sanctuary is an illusion. We're trapped in here, while outside our hive, our home, burns. Kara threads her fingers through mine and leans against me. Whatever happens, she whispers, we stay together. Promise me. I squeeze her hand. I promise. Adela manages a sad smile at that, as if taking comfort in our small light of hope. She reaches over and clasps our joined hands in hers. All of us together, she says quietly. In that moment, huddled with the only two friends I have left in the world, I pray silently to the Emperor for a dawn that we'll all live to see. But deep down, a gnawing certainty tells me dawn will bring not salvation, but fire. Night in the fortress is a strange limbo. No one sleeps soundly. How could we, knowing what dawn will bring? Kara and I sit with Adela in a quiet corner of the admin hall, sharing a canteen of water and a few protein rations handed out by the Arbites. The makeshift barracks is dim now, lit by only a few lanterns. Most survivors lie restless on their cots or murmur prayers. The two armed guards by the door stand like statues, their visors concealing any hint of emotion. They haven't said anything more, Adela whispers, breaking a long silence. About the purification. I shake my head. Number, but we heard the Inquisitor at dawn. I trail off, not wanting to voice our fears aloud again. Adela closes her eyes. Emperor preserve us, she mutters, clutching a small medallion of a healing saint around her neck. In the lantern light, her face looks gaunt. She can't be much older than Kara or me, but tonight she seems aged beyond her years. Kara leans her head on my shoulder, and I wrap an arm around her. We've hardly let go of each other since the Inquisitor's inspection. In the hours since, we've spoken little, simply taking what comfort we can in each other's presence. A series of faint thumps reverberates through the floor, distant explosions. The Arbite's guards mutter into vox beads, growing tense. A shrill klaxon begins to wail, the final warning. The floor bucks violently as explosion after explosion roars outside, knocking many of us to the ground. Part of the wall collapses inward under a firebomb blast, and tongues of flame curl into the hall. Fall back, deeper inside. The remaining guard shouts over the chaos. I shield Kara and Adela with my body as debris skitters around us. They're bombing the hive, purging by fire. Through the ringing in my ears, I hear someone crying out in pain. I look back and my blood runs cold. The other guard by the door is down, pinned under a collapsed roof beam. A few survivors rush to lift it off him. Outside the building, the world is an orange glow of raging fires, visible through the high windows. We have to get out of here. Adela yells over the din, coughing as dust fills the air. Another explosion rocks the structure, and a long, agonized metal groan echoes from above. The entire building shudders. This warehouse wasn't built to withstand a full bombardment. The standing Arbite's guard seems torn between aiding the injured and maintaining his post. Before he can decide, a thunderous crack resounds, and part of the far wall crumbles inward. Rubble spills across the floor. Flames lick through the gaping hole where the wall used to be. Fall back deeper inside, the guard commands, waving us toward a door that leads further into the precinct's interior. There's no time to consider. We scramble to our feet and run. I keep one arm around Kara and grab Adela's hand. pulling her along. We dash through a side doorway into a narrower utility hall, just as a fireball blasts the heavy bulkhead off its frame, slamming it into Adela and flinging her like a ragdoll against the wall. I see her crumple to the floor, blood spreading beneath her head. Kara's wail pierces the roaring background noise as we rush to our fallen friend. Adela is sprawled awkwardly, eyes half open and unfocused. A jagged shard of metal protrudes from her abdomen, and blood bubbles on her lips as she struggles to breathe. No, 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 I stammer, pressing my hands to her wound in a futile attempt to stop the bleeding. The metal shard is large. It must have torn straight through. Adela coughs wetly, crimson staining her chin. Kara kneels on Adela's other side, tears streaming freely. Adela, Emperor, no. The guard grabs my shoulder. We have to go now. This whole area is going up. He barks urgently. I shrug him off. Just a moment, I shout back, voice cracking. The others hesitate, but the guard curses and moves on, ushering the remaining survivors onward into the dark. Within seconds, Kara and I are alone with Adela in the flickering corridor. Adela's hand fumbles for mine. I grasp it tightly, choking back sobs. We're here, Adela, I manage, though my vision blurs with tears. Her lips move. I lean down, straining to catch her words. Together, remember, she rasps. We're with you, Kara whimpers, smoothing Adela's sweat-damp hair back from her bloodied forehead. Adela's eyes glisten, fixed somewhere beyond us. A shudder passes through her broken body, and she falls still, grip slackening in my hand. The medallion slips from her fingers, clattering against the floor. For a moment, all I can do is kneel there, stunned. Another friend, gone, snatched away in an eye blink by the uncaring fury of war. Kara buries her face in Adela's now motionless shoulder, sobbing openly. I gently close Adela's staring eyes and whisper a shaky litany of the Emperor's peace over her. The words echo emptily in the burning corridor. A distant crash jolts me back to grim reality. The flames are spreading, the air thickening with acrid smoke. If we stay, we'll soon join Adela. Kara, I croak, squeezing her arm. She looks up, face contorted with grief. I tug her insistently. We have to move. She'd want us to move. For a heartbeat, I worry she might refuse, but then she nods weakly. Together, shaking and coughing, we rise and leave Adela's body behind, stumbling down the only path left to us. We catch up to the others at a stairwell junction deeper inside the precinct. The guard is there, holding the door for the last civilians to descend to a lower level. His face is grim when he notices Adela's absence and our devastated expressions. He doesn't ask. There's no need. This way leads to the sub-level bunkers, he says briskly. They're not meant for bombardment this heavy, but it's all we've got. The guard leads us down a spiral staircase. The lights flicker and emergency lumens bathe everything in hellish red. I clutch Kara's hand as we descend step after step, the structure trembling with each distant blast. Finally, at the bottom, we enter a reinforced chamber, some kind of secure archive or panic room, judging by the thick walls and cogitator banks. There are maybe a dozen of us crammed into this vault, all that remain of the hundreds who sought refuge here. Our faces are streaked with soot and terror under the flickering red emergency lights. In the silence between blasts, I realize our entire world is literally coming down around us. Hive Cinerus, our home, will soon be nothing but ashes. About a dozen of us gather inside, the last pitiful remnant of what had been a bustling courtyard of defenders and survivors only hours ago. The guard seals the bulkhead door behind us with a heavy lever. The air is stale and hot, tinged with smoke that seeps even down here. In the cramped space, people slump against walls, panting and terrified. The guard tests a comm panel on the wall, but only static answers. No signal. Powers failing, he mutters. Above, the bombardment rages on. Through the ceiling we hear muffled booms and the dull roar of uncontrolled firestorms. The floor quakes again, and a rain of dust spills from the ceiling panels. A woman starts praying loudly. Others join her in a ragged chorus of the Emperor's litany. I try to mouth the words, but nothing comes. In this moment, I am no longer sure anyone is listening. I just sit with Kara, our foreheads touching as we cling together, beyond words. Part of me still hasn't processed Adela's death, any of this. It feels like a nightmare I'll never wake from. Kara suddenly pulls back and looks into my eyes. In the trembling light, I see fear there. Yes, but also a fierce resolve. Jonas, if this is truly the end, I don't regret a single thing. Meeting you, being with you. Not even today, horrible as it's been, because we faced it together. A tear slips down my cheek. Me neither, I say, brushing her dirty hair back tenderly. You kept me going. You're everything to me, Kara. She manages a broken smile, and we share another brief, desperate kiss. It tastes of salt and ashes, of a goodbye neither of us wants to say. A high-pitched, keening whine grows rapidly louder by the second. The guard's head snaps up. Emperor have mercy. That's the main Prometheum reserve igniting. Brace yourselves. He hastily makes the sign of the Aquila across his chest. I wrap myself around Kara as close as possible. If this is the end, we'll meet it together. Kara meets my eyes and mouths 3 words. I love you. I try to say them back, but the words catch in my throat as the world around us begins to turn to blinding white. There is a sound beyond sound, a thunder that tears the world apart. White light envelops us, searing through closed eyelids. I feel myself and Kara lifted, hurled like leaves in a storm. We hit something hard. My breath blasts out of my lungs. For a few heartbeats I lose all sense. Maybe I black out. I'm not sure. Gradually, muffled sensation returns, an unbearable heat. The taste of blood and smoke on my tongue, a high-pitched ringing in my ears. Everything is pain. I blink hazily. My vision swims in a haze of red and orange. The vault has been ripped open. I find myself sprawled on shattered concrete, half buried in debris. Flames dance all around in crazed shadows. Kara. The thought of her cuts through the haze. I force my body to move, biting back a scream as agony lances up my pinned leg. Wrenching aside a slab of cracked flooring, I claw forward. There, just an arm's length away, I see her. Kara lies on her side amid the rubble, frighteningly still. A beam has fallen across her lower body. Her eyes are closed, face smeared with soot and blood. For one terrible moment I think she's already gone. Coughing, I drag myself to her. My left arm doesn't respond, likely broken, so I use my right to brush trembling fingers against her cheek. Kara, I croak, barely hearing my own voice over the ringing in my head. Her eyelids flutter at my touch, and miraculously, she peers up at me through the smoke. She's alive. A sob of relief chokes out of me. Jonas, she whispers. Her hand twitches, trying to reach for me. I take it in mine, holding on with all the strength I have left. It's a feeble grasp, but it's everything. We're both broken. I can feel warm blood pooling under me, and the unnatural angle of her legs beneath the beam tells me she's crushed beyond rescue. Deep down, I know these are our final moments. The fire rages closer, a rolling wave of heat. Kara's eyes brim with tears that reflect the inferno's glow. I manage a smile for her. I want her to see something other than fear in my face at the end. She surprises me by smiling back, a faint tender curve of her blood-cracked lips. Even now, she's beautiful. Did we do it? Kara's voice is an airy sigh. I lean in, pressing my forehead to hers. Our tears mingle. We stayed together, I whisper. My throat tastes of ash. I'm here. I'm with you. Her fingers tighten ever so slightly in mine. Together. she echoes. Behind that single word lies everything we've been through, every joke, every terror, every unspoken dream. My vision blurs as heat and smoke close in. The edges of my world dim, but in the center, there is only her, those kind amber eyes gazing up at me, full of love even now. I don't know if what I see next is real or a merciful hallucination. Through a gaping fissure in the hive ceiling overhead, beyond the billowing smoke, I glimpse a patch of sky, black as velvet, pierced by countless stars. They glimmer pure and serene, untouched by the carnage below. Look, I rasp, tears spilling freely. Kara, the stars, you see them? A soft gasp escapes her. Slowly, painfully, she nods. In her eyes, the reflected starlight dances. They're beautiful, she breathes. A gentle peace steals over me then. Somehow, amid all this devastation, we got our wish, to see the stars, together. The flames roar around us, but the heat fades from my awareness. I feel only Kara's hand in mine, hear only the faint hitch of her breath. I hope she feels me with her too, in these last moments. I love you, I murmur, voice faltering. Kara's lips move in reply. Perhaps she is saying she loves me as well. No sound comes out, but I know it all the same. My strength is almost gone. I struggle to keep my heavy eyes open, to keep looking at Kara and those distant stars reflected above us. My vision is narrowing, darkness encroaching at the edges. Somewhere far away, I think I hear voices, a chorus, singing a mournful hymn, or perhaps it's just the wail of cooling metal. It doesn't matter now. I summon the last reserve of my strength to give Kara's hand one final, gentle squeeze. She returns it with a fragile squeeze of her own. In that mutual pressure is every unspoken promise, every cherished moment we shared. Our gaze remains locked as the darkness closes in. Kara's eyes drift shut, and I feel her fingers slacken in my grasp. A weak, shuddering exhale leaves her lips, and I know that she is gone. Somewhere deep inside, I feel a crushing sorrow, but it's quickly absorbed into the encroaching dark. My own body is shutting down. The pain has ebbed into a numb cold. With the last flicker of consciousness, I angle my head upward. The smoke has thinned for just a heartbeat, revealing the night sky above the burning hive. The stars shine so clearly now. One of them blazes brighter than the rest, or perhaps that's just my fading vision. I let myself believe it's the Emperor's light, welcoming us home. My lips move in a final, silent prayer. Then, hand in hand with the woman I love, I surrender to the black. At long last, in the heart of a dying hive city, we are granted the Emperor's mercy, together, forever amidst the stars.